Lord 2020. When I say Lord, I say Lord, Lord. Man, it is SOS Wrestling Network back at y'all. Lord, Lord. Here with the Sengoku Lord 2020 review. It's your boy, Blunt Cianido, aka the Puresu Fly God. Fly God's an awesome God. So hey, let's go ahead and remember that as well. Joined here by my illustrious tag team partner, the book junkie herself, the intellectual juggernaut, the exalted one. I was about to say the master of breaking things down to the very compound, because that's what we do here on this channel, and you know, we're very proud of it. Jana, what is up with
you? Oh, hello. I was feeling a little apprehensive going into this show because there was so much that I really had no idea what to expect, and it's going to be fun to talk about.
it? Absolutely is. And of course, we know we are on Sengoku Lord July 25th, 2020. I almost forgot the date. We're in Nagoya, of course. We already if you're getting people, I know people coming into the show being a little bit, I guess, maybe critical of Evil so far, or you know, maybe just downright disliking him, and not because he's supposed to be disliked, but just because they just don't like him. I think the show's going to go a long way in changing a lot of people's minds. I could be wrong, but before the show even started, Jay, we got some very disappointing news, some sad news right here. We have Tamaki Homa and Yota Tsuji were off because they recently filmed some TV stuff with somebody infected with COVID. But with somebody infected with that word, with that word CV, they actually went, you know, were filming some TV stuff with somebody that was infected, and they pulled them off the show.
Although we should point out that, you know, Hanma and Tsuji are both in perfectly good health. They were supposedly not in close contact at all with the person who was infected. You know, they recorded a TV show back on July 17th, and the person who tested positive for CV tested positive yesterday. So it was essentially out of an abundance of caution, they took them off the show and they changed up match number 2. So when we get to that, the match that was originally scheduled to be Togi Makabe, Tomoaki Honma, Satoshi Kojima, and Ryusuke Taguchi going up against Tomohiro Ishii, Toru Yano, Yota Tsuji, and Gabriel Kidd. We got a slightly altered setup here of Makabe, Kojima, and Taguchi against Ishii, Yano, and Kidd, so they just dropped them out. They didn't replace them with anybody, which, you know, they probably couldn't have replaced them with that many people to begin with. But, you know, the important thing here is that this was done out of an abundance of caution, not because there's anything wrong medically with either Hanma or Tsuji. By all accounts that New Japan has put out, they haven't tested positive for anything. They're fine. They just don't want to risk it.
Which is very smart. You might as well it's better to be safe than sorry. It's kind of a old saying that it's not really an old saying. People say it now. I call it cut twice, or measure twice, cut once. And I think it's kind of works in the situation because, yeah, even though we're not measuring anything or doing any home improvement, I feel it's best to be safe and to, you know, still mind your P's and Q's as opposed to just being like, okay, it doesn't matter. It's, you know, it's just being reckless about it, you know?
Well, if anything, New Japan as a company has shown us from the very beginning, back in mid-February, that they are going to act on the side of caution, that they are going to look at, you know, the long term, and they're not going to take stupid chances. And they've established that for, you know, about 4 months now. So this was kind of par for the course for them. And I would like to see more companies make similar choices.
100% don't be selfish. It's all, I hate to say that, it's kind of, I'm not trying to get into all that CV stuff, but this ultimately don't be selfish right here. So we got the first match. First match still it took place as scheduled. So we have Taiji Ishimori right here getting ready to kick things off against channel favorite Yuri Yamura right here. These are two channel favorites actually. So we have a match I think maybe kind of suffered from a little bit of timing problems. This might be in my opinion. I feel Taiji Ishimori, I'm not going to say he was coasting during the first couple of minutes of this match. I do think he kind of coasted a little bit. he did improve with Uemura hitting a diving attempt on him in some brief offensive period where I think that kind of helped Taiji Ishimori, ramp things up right here. Maybe the trainee, maybe it was me. He kind of looked uncomfortable here. I could be looking way too much into that, which is very possible. But I felt he kind of looked a little uncomfortable. So I'm always waiting for Uemura to score a signature victory. And when he gets ready to go on excursion, that will be a very, very sad day for me. As we already really know, tonight was not that night for him to do either one of those things. He actually he used to be pinned actually, but he was submitted by the Yes Lock in a little over 8 minutes right here. So we get Taiji Ishimori defeating him in less than 10 minutes. And I guess it wasn't bad, Jay, but I guess I was maybe expecting a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Oh, it totally makes sense. And when you have somebody like Taiji Ishimori, it's reasonable for you to expect a certain level of match performance. And I'll agree that we didn't quite get that here. It's hard at first to tell if this is something just being off in terms of chemistry or timing, if, as you say, he's kind of blowing it off and coasting, or if he's acting like he's blowing it off and coasting because that's what Bone Soldier would do. At first it was a little hard to figure out what the problem was, because I would totally believe that Ishimori's not going to take a young lion very seriously and could come to regret that at several points in the match. Especially when Uemura was just rolling him around in a circle. A number of people that I interact with on social media regularly talk about how Uemura looks like he could be Sonata's little brother, and then he pulls out a move that Sonata does. It's like, okay, I'm not totally saying I agree with it, but I see that. Okay, that was kind of neat. And then when Ishimori didn't just slap on the yes lock and get a submission, he made a point of rolling him away from the rope to do it because he's smart like that. I did like the ending of the match better than the beginning, and I'll agree that it was off, but I'm not sure how much of it would legit be Ishimori just coasting, because yeah, sure, people do that. Some people do that a lot, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it would really be necessary.
I feel that. Yeah. I think you might be right about that. I might be looking into it a little bit more than actual kayfabe stuff, because kayfabe, since you're right, it makes absolute sense for him to just not really take Uemura seriously, or to coast, if you will. Like I said, it makes perfect sense. He's not going to go 100% at this guy unless he just really wants to beat his ass. So I don't really. He was talking about buying this young guy ice cream and everything. So I don't think he wants to beat his ass. He's just pretty much in there, He's just like, hey, I'm here.
I'll be curious if I really want to wait for the translated backstage comments to drop, hopefully tonight, because since he talked about that before, I want to see if Ishimori makes any further references to, taking Uemura for ice cream, just because that seems to be kind of a running joke. But we're going to come back to one Taiji Ishimori in a little bit.
Absolutely. It will not be the last time we saw my man here. And I kind of thought it might happen, but I really wasn't sure. And my suspicions arose right here. The next match we have on this card, we have a Rizuke Taguchi, Satoshi Kojima, and Tamaki. Oh, not Tamaki Homa, because he's not here. Excuse me. I'm speaking aloud right here. Not Tamaki Homa or Yota Tsuji, like you said, they were not in this match, because, of course, I would write them out in this match and just totally forget about that, because this is how your boy is sometimes. But what we got right here, we got some really good stuff between Tomohiro Ishii, Yano, Gabriel Kidd. They actually took on a team of Togi Makabe, Rizuke Taguchi, and Satoshi Kojima. Went from an 8-man to a 6-man. Forgive me for making that mistake right there. Play as fuck up. It's all to the good. I'm going to be honest. This right here was Gabriel Kidd's highlight match. And we had some comedy spots in here. We had a little intervention from Ishii, but when a young lion, Gabriel Kidd, when he slapped Makabe.
Oh, God, yes.
It's like, boy, do you really want this right here? And he also got a couple near falls and even locked in a Boston Crab, Jay. So he was fiery and he was hungry right here. I loved everything Gabriel Kidd did in this match. And hell, you called it right here. I think we both called it. Togi Makabe put him away with a German suplex, and it kind of just goes off to our theory to where we're like, either way, Gabriel Kidd can just be like, hey, it was a multi-man, and you pinned me, but there was other people involved. And like we said, if he didn't eat the pinfall, which maybe would have probably played into the result, because since Yota Tsuji wasn't here, he could be like, hey, man, you didn't pin me, yada, yada, yada. So he got pinned here, unfortunately, but he can fall back on the fact that it was not a singles match. So we have that. I am intrigued for that singles match whenever we may have it. I will look on the schedule and see when it's happening and coming up. Jay, what do you say?
Well, I did enjoy Taguchi getting to coach Kojima and Makabe and them actually going along with it. You know, this is one of those things that New Japan does really, really well. And I wish more people who watch predominantly Western wrestling would get more comfortable with this. It is totally possible for people of, respectable or legendary status to go along with goofy shit because it's funny. And, Taguchi, doing all the plays and Kojima's doing the arm stuff right along with him. Makabe's standing off to the side, looking at them like, what the hell are you doing? And then Taguchi starts sending them running in the corner, and they take turns just, flattening Yano. And it's just like anybody else that Taguchi is coaching. And it was actually rather delightful to see Kojima and Makabe going along with it. And it was really fun. So those segments of the match I enjoyed quite a bit. As you say, this might have been a 6-man tag. This was a 2-person match, and those 2 people were Makabe and Gabriel Kidd. And we don't know when their singles match is going to happen. We just know that it is because it's already been challenged for. And oh God, that slap. I sat up a little straighter when that happened, like, okay, here we go. And again, Makabe did not have to bust out the King Kong knee drop to get the victory over Gabriel Kidd here. He got it with the German suplex about 10 minutes and a half. So I would like to think as we build to their singles match that ultimately he's going to have to do that. Because obviously as long as Gabriel Kidd is officially a young lion, he's not going to beat Makabe. But I like the idea of Makabe essentially being forced to bust out his big finishing move to beat this guy.
Yeah, I think I'm glad they held off on that. And it's something Makabe, who is a veteran in this game, he's probably holding off on doing that because he feels he doesn't need to do that to this guy. If it needs to go there, we'll go there. But at this point, we ain't going there. So I'm not blaming Makabe for that. Makabe doing this thing as far as that. You don't show him your full hand. When you show him bits and pieces at a time, and that's what he's doing with this young boy right here. So, match number 3 we have on this card is Los Ingobernables de Japón. We have Bushi, Sanada, and Tetsuya Naito defeating the Chaos contingent of Sho, Yoshihashi, and Hiroki Goto right here. I feel, and this maybe I'm looking too much into this, I feel Sho was maybe looking for a measure of revenge from his loss in the New Japan Cup to one Sanada right here, and maybe even going forward. Maybe Sho kind of views Sanada as a new roadblock, but maybe not to the levels of the Shingo Takagi because he eventually wants to overcome that. But maybe if you have like 3 rivals or whatever, maybe even 4, he just writes down in his book, okay, Sanada's on his hate list. So I do feel Sanada's on his hate list right here, especially in his singles run as it goes further. He actually was not able to defeat Sanada right here. He actually was succumbed to the skull. And I love the continuity once again between LIJ. They hit the triple drop kick as they always did. And I know a lot of people were critical of hell. I think we even were a little bit. They were critical of Tetsuya Naito's lack of anger because, he got betrayed. He lost the double championship. And now he's wrestling in the 3rd match right here. He's let off a little bit of steam after the match, Jay. He and Sanada were like, you know what? Yeah, we gotta let out a little frustrations, and they proceeded to do that on the referee. So yeah.
Yes, and I tweeted the pictures out. If you haven't seen them, they're absolutely hilarious because Naito starts beating up the referee. Sanada joins him in beating up the referee even more, and the smiles that they throw at each other when they're finished doing it are absolutely glorious. Like Naito's almost laughing, Sonata's positively glowing, and they just look like, okay, we're gonna get through this, we're fine. And it was just the best moment. Now, I want to totally support everything you said about Sho and Sonata. I am hoping that that's going to be a thing. Sho is going to want to avenge that loss in the cup, and he tapped out to Sonata again here. I am very intrigued at what these two guys could do, and I would like to see them, go forward as another proper heavyweight roadblock for Sho. I gotta give Sho credit, and I know that some people who have different opinions on this will probably be upset. But if you look at the entrance when they come out, Sho looks disappointed to discover that Yoshihashi is on his team. He just kind of looks back and he's like, ah, fuck. And, and well, not like Sho would say that, but it just comes off as a bit of disappointment, and it's hilarious if you catch it. As far as other things, I also like Goto and Sonata. I like the two of them together because Goto, always brings the power, and I think he and Sonata can be quite a bit of fun there. It was a neat 6-man tag. I really liked the reversals and the counters when we get to the end with Sho and Sonata. There was that one where Sonata's going for the skull end and Sho counters like he's going for the shock arrow, and then Sonata counters out of it again. Just, okay, yeah, more of this, please.
100%. Like, I am intrigued for Sho and Sonata to have more matches against each other here in the future. I hope so more in 2020. That'd be fucking awesome. I think we might be getting that. If I think Sho couldn't make his candidacy for the G1 climax. I mean, I'm not trying to, go out here and campaign for my guy, but I wouldn't mind him being in G1. At this point, it's all hands on deck, and if he's one of those hands, I think that's a good play. So, Sho.
Well, I think if the juniors in question, and it's obviously not going to be everybody, but if you've had people who have already proved that they can hang with heavyweights in a tournament, you've got Sho, you've got Despy, you've got Hiromu, there is no reason whatsoever for those three not to be in the G1, especially if they don't have access to their normal people.
Honestly, I think those three at this point, this is my honest opinion, they've almost transcended junior heavyweight. They're not heavyweights, but they're not junior. They're open weights, legit. These three guys, Hiromu, Sho, and El Desperado, they're open weights. Even though they primarily compete in the junior heavyweight division, they do have interminglings with heavyweight guys. To me, they're open weights. That's just how I look at all three of them.
I like that. I agree. I like that a lot.
So, speaking of guys who can maybe be considered open weight a little bit, who I would like to be open weight because he's on a Suzuki Gun team, we have the team of Doki, Taichi, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Zack Sabre Jr., and of course the king himself, Minoru Suzuki, taking on the team of Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kota Ibushi, Hiroyoshi Tenzan, Yuji Nagata, and the team captain himself, Master Wato. See, a lot of people, not us, because we can respect Master Wato's, his dress game, his fashion game. A lot of people maybe hate on how Master Wato is dressed. They might say he looks stupid and he looks dumb, but let me tell you what, him avoiding Suzuki, that's a smart move if you ask me. I don't think that a dumb guy would do that. So Master Wato is a smart man right here. He's extremely smart. So you got to give credit where credit's due with him.
And let's not forget, we came out, he and Tenzan came out to his music. So you've got somebody like Hiroyoshi Tenzan coming out to your music. You are obviously, team leader.
100%. We got Nagata and Suzuki. They're going hard right here. They brawled, they slapped each other, suplexed each other during and after the match. It was magnificent right here. Kanemaru kept that heat with the aforementioned Master Wato right here. And Zack and Ibushi had a brief but extremely superb exchange, in my opinion. It was a joy to watch Tanahashi commanding the crowd once again. That's something Tanahashi and I believe I myself missed right there. Doki got very, very close to pinning Kota Ibushi right here. But in the end of this match, he got destroyed by Kamigoye. This was a lot of fun right here. We get the home tide team for the most part picking up this victory. And yeah, I thought this was a really good match.
It was chaotic and messy because it's a 10-man tag and Suzuki-gun is involved. So when I say it's chaotic and messy, I mean that in all of the good ways. There was so much going on. You had Nagata and Suzuki just slapping the hell out of each other when they weren't, pummeling each other into oblivion all around the ring. And did you see when Tanahashi came in? He was rocking out so hard to the air guitar that he couldn't even see where he was walking. And he does that pose with Ibushi, and somebody tweeted out a screenshot of that with a poster from the John Travolta Saturday Night Live movie, and it's the exact same pose. And yeah, because it's Tanahashi, we have to think he did that on purpose. Zack and Kota Ibushi is a combination I can watch fight all day. I absolutely love their chemistry together, the way their styles mesh. Like, only with these two could you have Kota Ibushi going for, some kind of corkscrew standing moonsault, and Zack catches him by a leg and puts him in an ankle lock before he hits the ground. You're not going to see that any other time. And while it did turn out the way I hoped it wouldn't, with Doki eating the pin here, I can't really feel bad about it because Doki looked pretty good in this match. As you said, he almost pinned Kota Ibushi, and he was spreading the violence for all the rest of the match. And so he did not look half bad here.
100%. I will have to agree with you on that. So then this moves us on to the first singles match of the night. Special singles match right here. We have the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, or as I've seen him being called on Twitter, Cup of Noodles because of his attire, taking on. Yeah, I swear, I was like, damn, it does look like Cup of Noodles right now. So it really does.
Oh my God, I can't believe I didn't realize that. Now that you've said it, I cannot unsee it. It's so obvious now.
There's Cup of Noodles over here, Kazuchika Okada taking on the Tokyo Pimp, Yujiro Takahashi right here. So ultimately, this was a solid match that in about a week's time, nobody's probably going to remember, unfortunately. Yujiro, in my opinion, he worked hard. He tried stifling Okada with a bunch of kicks and a bunch of holds right here. He also used a cane, thanks to a ghetto distraction. But in my whole honest opinion right here, Okada never looked in trouble. I mean, he absorbed some punishment, and after a couple attempts, he managed to lock in a Cobra clutch for the submission win. I don't really know what to say, but in this era since they've been back, Okada has definitely not been one of their best wrestlers right here. It's kind of, Okada, his weaknesses are kind of showing since we've been back. And not saying that Okada's not a great wrestler, because he is a great wrestler, but I feel the way that they're pushing this Cobra clutch, they could actually make Okada a more, I guess, scarier opponent to his opponents if he had more of an edge, if he's actually trying to go for their neck, actually trying to not be as relaxed as he in this match. If he has some kind of aggression to him, I think that would help Okada right here in this situation that he's in, because that's one thing we haven't really seen. We've seen him be the Rainmaker. We've seen him make balloons and be a party guy. We haven't seen Okada that's ultra aggressive, and I think that it's kind of missing in him wanting to have the submission right here, because if he's ultra aggressive and he adds the submission, it's something to look out for, as opposed to, Okada's doing a new move. So that's just my take.
Well, I agree that something's missing with it, and I know that some of our regular listeners might think that this is just the daily Bash Okada session, and that's not where I'm meaning to go. But it just feels like everything with him is happening in a vacuum. Like, the idea that he is using this Cobra clutch all the time. Okay, why is that? You can speculate, but you don't really know. And I think it would have been a whole lot more interesting if we had seen Okada come back, playing off so much of the stuff that he said about, he had never had any interest in the double gold dash because it, disrespects the heavyweight title, and that's the only belt that matters. And if he's not competing for that, he doesn't really care about anything. And he could use all that stuff that has pissed off some people, justifiably so. I would be a lot more interested in a Kazuchika Okada who was really angry that people seem to have forgotten that they were supposed to be afraid of him because he's not the champ anymore. And when he was the champ, it was like, oh, scary Okada because he's the gold standard. But now that he hasn't had that for a bit, it's like he's personally insulted. And again, I'm talking about, the Rainmaker here. I would be a lot more interested in an Okada who was personally insulted that people did not give him the deference he felt he deserved, and he was turning to a submission move because he was going to hurt people. That, yeah, I've beaten all of you so many times. You're not respecting me properly, and now I'm going to hurt you. Okay, now I'm interested. I want to see where this goes. That's not what they're doing here. And this match was not quite 14 minutes long, but it felt a lot longer than that. And you cannot blame Yujiro for all of it. You can blame him for some of it, but there were two partners in this dance, and I think both of them could have brought something more. I was really hoping to see Yujiro busting out with something at some point that would put Okada in danger, that would make Okada kind of wake up and go, oh man, I nearly lost. I better do something. But he was never in jeopardy here, and so that kind of took some of the shine off of it. And it really, probably the most disappointing thing for me personally is that I think they really could have explored this whole idea of, I know I'm not on your level. I'm going to drag you down to mine and, make sure that you stay here. Yeah. You could do a lot with that. I mean, that is not just a one match story. You could play with that quite a bit, and nothing is going to happen with that. And it just feels like a missed opportunity.
Well said, my partner in crime. Well said, because it is a missed opportunity. But, maybe it might unfold as the year goes along. But, we've been wrong before. We've been correct, but we've been wrong to where it's like, hey, they should have done this, but they did something else. It wouldn't be the first time in Japan. It would probably just be like a number of times. So it is what it is. He should do it, but he probably isn't. So,
well, before we get to the last two matches, you want to speak on the other big announcement that they made?
Absolutely, 100%. I'm almost forgot about that. Thank you for bringing that up. At New Japan, they actually announced that they're going to have an open-air stadium show at Jingu Baseball Stadium located in Tokyo on August 29th. And it will be the second ever New Japan show in this venue. It will be the first since 1999. So the event will be Summer Struggle in Jingu. So it's probably where we're going to get certain big matches, is how it looks like it's going to go.
They showed clips of the one from 1999. They had called it the Battle of Last Summer. And it had all kinds of stuff that I'd kind of forgotten about. Like, I knew that the event had taken place, but, a no rope exploding ring death match.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Great Muta was in that one. And, Shinya Hashimoto facing Chono, there was big stuff. And so for Western fans who either had no idea that this ever happened or are just looking at it like they're going to have a show at a baseball stadium, this is kind of a bigger deal than that because they have the precedent of the 99 show, but this is not something that happens all the time. And from what I was seeing in terms of social media reaction, this is big.
Yeah, this is huge. This is really, really huge. So, and I believe Great Muda at that show actually took on my man Tucci Onita, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I think that's is that I think that is who he wrestled because I know Onita also wrestled Chono in a barbed wire match, but I think that was a strong style symphony. So hopefully I'm not getting the two shows mixed up because I'm not because like you said, Chono wrestled one of my favorites, Shinya Hashimoto. So I think it was this show. So August 29th, we got some big shit happening. We got the like Summer Struggle in Jingu, and we're gonna have a prediction and preview for whatever we get. But as far as right now goes, there are no current matches on New Japan World, so we can't even preview the match for tomorrow's show.
Well, they'll get to it eventually, and in the meantime, we have title matches.
We do actually, and so the penultimate match of this night. Thanks for serving that up for me, Jay. To serve that up for me so nicely right there. We have Shingo Takagi right here, the Dragon, making his defense of his never openweight championship right here against El Desperado, a man who actually was in possession of the never openweight championship belt because he stole it. So
twice.
This gave me twice. Yeah, stole it twice actually. And Shingo's in the back complaining to New Japan right here. Just go check it out. It's hilarious stuff. He's just blaze, hey, New Japan, what you gonna do about this? So
and it's funny because if you didn't catch all the backstage comment stuff, before they did Shingo, they did Despy, and Despy said that's what he does. He's like an old school teacher. He's really loud and he doesn't stop talking and he's always complaining. And then they cut to Shingo and that is exactly what he's doing. I mean, this is comedy gold right here.
It really is. And it's funny because there is a certain trend when wrestlers often steal the never openweight championship. They often never end up getting the title. So the name never is a theme in that situation, though. So I think that's always kind of ironic. They always end up stealing the belt, but never end up winning it. Fucking belt thieves. But hey, we digress right here. We get numerous and absolute vicious efforts into hurt Shingo's leg right here. He was used in a guardrail, a chair. He had a nasty looking numero dos hold put on him. This match moved, in my opinion, at a really, really good pace. And I feel Desperado felt like a legit threat right here. And one thing I think Shingo doesn't get a lot of credit for is his selling, because his selling was really superb here. Even when he was on top, he made sure to show signs of his injury right here. His fire was rewarded with an increasingly exciting crowd. We got an awesome, strong style exchange, but soon after, Shingo hit a pumping bomber, and he hit the last dragon for the win. I think they could have went a little bit longer. I would have loved to see him and Desperado go a little bit longer than they did. They went about, I think, was it around the 17-minute mark, about a little bit over 17 minutes. People were increasingly not trying to have longer matches, but I think he and Desperado can actually do gangbusters with longer time. Even though this right here was a fucking banger, Despy right here showed again why he is an open weight, like I said. Yeah, this was a great match right here. And I thought this would be the match of the night, but we'll talk about that here shortly.
Well, I know it's probably the one that I was the most excited about in terms of the actual match itself. And yeah, it could have gone longer. I mean, I was completely satisfied with the length of this match for what they were doing. But this is one of those that if they went 20 minutes, if they went 25 minutes, depending on how they used that time, it would theoretically be workable. I love how Despy came in with a plan, and it was a two-pronged attack. One, I'm going to completely destroy your knee, and two, I'm going to annoy you into making a mistake. And he was very good at both of those things. I particularly love that in the context of that, Shingo came in actually showing that he has learned something, because he comes in and you can tell that he's not happy that Despy is in possession of his title belt, but he does not rush the ring. He does not rip off his mask and his robe and throw them to the floor. He does not go at Despy at all because he's learned there's a plan and he's trying to make me mad. It worked last time. It's not going to work this time. Because you could tell that Shingo just wanted to hit him really, really badly, but he didn't do it. Not immediately, anyway. So I love that Shingo has learned from their last encounter, and Despy had a clear plan, and he stuck to it. Especially how, he doesn't just, put the knee around his neck. The way he pumps that lower leg really hard, like, oh boy, that's just awful. A lot of stalling and shenanigans out of Despy. He actually took the title belt and hit Shingo with it at one point. I don't know how all of this goes without being noticed by the referee, but we're used to that by now, really. But you had all kinds of power from Shingo. You had craftiness galore from Despy, and Shingo could not pull off everything. Like you said, his selling was super, super good here, because if you can't stand up, you can't Made in Japan, you can't Last of the Dragon, you can't any of those things. Even with a pumping bomber, you're kind of falling forward after a while. So yeah, it was very, very good. And I was a little bit surprised. I'm not going to say I'm disappointed, but I cannot be the only one that as Shingo is making his exit up the ramp, I'm looking to see who's going to jump him next.
No, you're not. I was in that same boat. For real, I was, who's next? So it looks like whoever challenges Shingo's next is going to be a straight up one-on-one contest, or maybe somebody might pin him here in the next couple of events in a tag team match. So we'll see how it goes. But now we get to the main event right here. We have for the IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Championships, Evil defending this title against Hiromu Takahashi. If you'd have told me that a month ago, I wouldn't have believed you that would have been a title match. But hey, here we are. So first things first, Dick Togo in a suit. Mad props on the suit right here, man. He was definitely looking like some kind of this billiards halls, this kind of just like some kind of horse track betting looking kind of dude, and it felt with the spoiler sleazy gimmick. So proper boss vibes for that. And the match right here, this was super all about Hiromu Takahashi. He came out blazing in the first few minutes right here. He bumped his ass off, and he got the crowd super invested right here. This match really, honestly, even though he was the champion, this was not about Evil. This was solely setting up to keep pushing Hiromu Takahashi as a major star and maybe a potential future ace of this company, because, yeah, that's just how I took out of that. And another thing, if you were, like I said earlier, if you're on the boat of maybe not liking Evil or liking his title reign, this match, more than, I guess, anything that's happened in his title reign, even though he hasn't had it that long, just further cemented to me that Evil is nothing more than a temporary champion. And once again, it's not a bad thing, because once again, he's a heel in Bushi Road, and he worked a really good match with Hiromu right here. He created some drama. I've seen people talking about the heel shenanigans, but they have to remember, now Evil is once again he's the leader of Bullet Club, and they have to go with this spoiler. They're going to do this interference, so I don't know why that people don't expect it or they kind of get turned off by it. It is the Bullet Club right here. So I don't know why they do that. It's all whatever. People can take whatever they want after this. So, man, I think the interferences, though, I think Jay kind of helped make Hiromu seem more empathetic to the crowd, though. That's just my opinion. So I think the interference spots actually did their job, what they're supposed to do.
Well, there is nobody more universally beloved in wrestling than Hiromu Takahashi. There just isn't. And whoever fights him for, low down, dirty, mean, nasty, personal reasons is going to be hated and reviled and booed. That's only exacerbated when you have your buddies come out and help you and you cheat. So, yeah, this is actually one of those things where Evil would probably be almost as hated as he is, even without Dick Togo, without any Bullet Club shenanigans, because he basically betrayed and dumped Hiromu and is now threatening to break his neck again. I mean, the first time he said that in the backstage comments, I was like, okay, I see where this is going. And he's really lived up to that. I do have to say this went a lot longer than it needed to. What it clocked in like 33 minutes and change. And I am one of those people who, in general, feels that New Japan main events go longer than they need to because, that's what our main events have to do. And I do think Evil is better in shorter matches. But there was so much other stuff going on with the interference and all that it was less of a problem than I think it would have been otherwise. There was constant targeting of the neck. There were places where, even though they weren't supposed to be yelling stuff or saying stuff, the audience was totally buying into it that, it's possible. He might be able to do it. Dick Togo and that garrote, that cannot be legal in any country. I do not understand why that is okay. I mean, you could decapitate a bison with that thing. And there were a couple of places, like the second time he used it on Hiromu, he had it on him for a long time. And that's kind of my problem with it, because you've got, it's a garrote, that's what it is, and it's this metal looking thing. You have that tight around somebody's neck for that long, their head is going to be rolling on the ground. And so I'm just having a little bit of a problem with that, as weird as it sounds. Like, I'm picky about how my weapons are used, okay? It's a theater thing. But that was one of the things that kind of grated on me a little bit. I think the most beautiful point in the entire match, though, was when Hiromu basically won, but Dick Togo pulled the ref out of the ring before the 3 count. Hiromu won that match. He showed everybody that he could win that match. He did win that match. But the 3 count didn't happen because pulling the referee out. So if there's one moment in the match that really means more than anything, I'm calling right now that it's that.
That was a hugely important moment. And one of my favorite spots in this, and I think it's because I love the move itself, and I just love the name of it. I love when Hiromu hit the, I think what's it called? It's Victory. What the fuck's he call that move? I just had it up because I'm on Twitter right now. Look at it. The Victory Royal that he hit on Evil, which it looks like a super, or like it's about to be a brain buster, and he takes it to like a kind of looks like a face buster. That was smooth. I love that move. I was like, okay, Hiromu, I see you breaking out moves right here. He hit a nasty DVD on the apron, or a Death Valley
Oh,
bomb.
God, that was, when I say that was bad, I mean it was beautifully bad.
Yeah, that was beautiful destruction by Hiromu Takahashi right here. And Jay, maybe damn near my like potential almost moment of 2020 as far as pro wrestling right here. When my man Hiromu hit the first time bomb, I was like, okay, holy shit, is he about to do it? Evil kicks out. Jay, when he hit that second time, like, because I was kind of not sitting all the way up, I was kind of like leaning back a little bit. I kid you not. Once he hit the time bomb too, I sat all the way up because I was like, I don't see Dick Togo anywhere, and that was flush in the middle of the ring, and I was like, is this about to fucking happen right now? I like literally sat up out of my chair. That near fall, they fucking got me. I was like, Hiromu's about to fucking win. I was like, he's about to win right here. I was like, he's clearly about to win. that near fall was probably one of the best near falls I've seen in a long time. Hey, kudos, because you guys got me right there. I was like, damn it. It was so close. I wanted to see if you felt the same way.
Oh, well, I think everybody felt the same way because, again, it ties into the fact that there is pretty much not a wrestling fan who knows who he is, who does not absolutely adore Hiromu Takahashi and want him to win all the things. You know, people want him to beat everybody and win everything. Like, no matter who their favorites are outside of that, that's just how it is. And so I think because people wanted it so much, everybody was into these near falls like, oh, almost. And you know, it worked. It was amazing. And yeah, I'm not gonna pretend I went into this with the mindset of there is no way this is actually going to happen. So, you know, enjoy what they do, but don't get upset about it. Because, you know, I went into Dominion thinking there was absolutely no way that Naito was losing, and here we are. So I was trying to be a little smarter about it this time, and you know, it really almost didn't matter because you just got so sucked into it, and then, you know, when they pulled the ref out of the ring and every single person who was in the Aichi Prefectural Gymnasium is like, he won! He won! Like, if they had permission to yell things and speak, that is what everybody would have said. He won that match, because he did.
Oh, man. That was a great moment in pro wrestling right here. And then, too, kudos to them, too, on the double near fall, because not seeing Dick Togo even come in there, and he just slyly pulls Red Shoes out, and I was just like, you son of a bitch. I was just like, I'm like, this dude really just did that. This dude did that. So that had me feeling some kind of way. He actually comes in with the aforementioned garrote, starts strangling Hiromu once again. Hiromu, while this is happening, he actually gets hit in the nuts. Then he gets the darkness falls, and after the darkness falls, he gets everything is evil. And once I saw that, I knew that was pretty much the end of it right here. So yeah, this was a really good ass match. This is a damn good match right here. Like I said, I don't feel, even though Evil is the champion and this is title reign, I feel this is about Hiromu right here. And I think they did a great job not even mentioning that Hiromu was the junior heavyweight champion. That was just in the backdrop. I thought that was excellent right here. So yeah, this was a damn good match, man. And maybe with the story and everything and potential near fall might be one of my favorite matches of the year. I don't know. This is pretty fucking good.
Well, and I think that's the important part to remember, because you're going to have some people talking about why this was not very good and blaming Evil for a lot of stuff. But this match was what it was because of the emotional investment of everybody involved, and it just would not work with any other people in it. It has to be these two. I said that before. So I really think that this was, I don't want to call it his coming out party because Hiromu is one of the biggest stars that they have. But at the same time, like you said, there was barely any acknowledgement of him being the junior heavyweight champion. It was, he's the guy who's trying to beat Evil because of all these other reasons. And aside from some shenanigans, he did actually do that. So I like how they're apparently trying to not limit him, because I think you said it earlier, almost more so than the other two, Hiromu is somebody who can transcend everything, you know, weight divisions, promotions, styles, everything. Hiromu is very special.
Exactly. Hiromu is not to steal anything from Tanahashi, but we got one once in a lifetime talent right here in Hiromu Takahashi. So I've also seen people being critical about the lack of Lij interference to help their comrade Hiromu Takahashi. But that's how Lij does things, man. If anybody else would have came in and interfered during the match, which did happen after the match, we do get one Taiji Ishimori staking his claim for the junior heavyweight championship. So we do have that. We're going to get that match very, very soon. And that'll be interesting when we get that and how that's going to go. So we'll talk about that. But normally, if you would have got the rest of Bullet Club, you would have seen somebody from Lij come out. It just wouldn't have been like, okay, we're just going to let this whole stable beat up Hiromu. No, it's pretty much if Dick Togo is Evil's second right here, it's like, hey man, we gotta leave you to handle that. I mean, it's pretty much it's what's coming with the match. You know that he was gonna be out there with him, so you have to handle that yourself. It's not like a added extra element. Which even though they are doing heel tactics, you still got to overcome that shit yourself.
Well, and let's also look at it from the perspective of, I don't remember seeing anything about it in the backstage comments, but if ever there were a situation where somebody would feel like they needed to handle their business by themselves, that they needed to prove that they didn't need any help, this would be it. And I could absolutely see, even if it never actually happened, a conversation in the back with Hiromu telling everybody else in the faction, don't come out there. I don't want a bunch of interference. If I can't beat him, I can't beat him, but I need to do this for myself. I could see that. I could see that as a thing. So, yeah, I have said many times that if you're going to call yourselves ungovernable, you need to act like it. And it can seem like it's stupid for them not to essentially plan for this and come out, but there could be other reasons besides these people are terrible stablemates. That's not necessarily the only reason for that.
Exactly. There are like moral reasons for it too. It's like, it's something to them. It's like, hey, I don't need these guys to interfere in my match like another stable would need. So it's not that. But Tetsuya Naito actually did make an appearance after one Taiji Ishimori came out and they start actually beating up Hiromu after this match. And he and Evil had a very, very intense face-off. And I was like, this is what we need right here. And it kind of reminded, I'm trying to think, the last like Naito face-off that kind of was like, all right, it's kind of was like, I felt that face-off right there. I think there was kind of the one where I think he and Tanahashi were about to wrestle. I want to say it was Dominion where, Naito was being Tranquilo, whatever. Then like, when they got in each other's face, Naito and him were just like dead locked in each other's eyes. And I was just like, I haven't seen Naito stare at anybody since then. And I was like I've seen him stare at people in the eye, but it's like that since then. And I was just like, okay. I start kind of getting my little chills and my goosebumps because I see where this is going. And a rough translation of what Naito said after the match, post-match, was he says, you keep talking about justice. Could you possibly be more confused? The rental period on those belts are over. And I'm just like, bruh, that's mic drop.
I saw that, and they've only got the Japanese commentary right now, but when I saw the translation of that, the expression on the face, I mean, that man had steel in his eyes when he was looking at Evil, and we have not seen that in a while. And I think the translation I saw said, 2 belts seems much too heavy for a guy like you. Rental time is over. Give them back.
Ooh, that's even. He said they too heavy for you, bro. That's even harder, dog.
I know, right? I'm just like, oh my god, I'm so here for this. And that seems like the kind of thing. I know it's a whole month away for them to do it at the stadium show, but I would be totally willing to wait for a month and have some build for that to be the main event there. we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think I sent that translation to like 4 different people with just a row of like 7 or 8 flames and just like, oh my God, you guys, look what he said. This is perfect. And we'll see where that goes, because that is a fair point. Evil keeps talking about justice, but if you ask him any questions about what that means, he just walks away. He will not explain anything. And so Naito's like, screw that, man. It was amazing. And I will absolutely give credit for Taiji Ishimori being part of the run-in and beating down Hiromu and holding up the junior heavyweight title belt and pretty much officially laying down his challenge. And how many times have not just you and I, but people we know talked about wanting to see that happen? Because Hiromu didn't have challengers lined up. He really didn't. And Hiromu and Ishimori from the finals of Best of the Super Juniors is, I'm not going to say one of everybody's favorite matches, but it's a match that has a lot of respect on it. It's very high up on a lot of people's lists. And I think we've all been waiting for a part 2 to that one.
I think, yeah, we really are. That's something we've all been having our eyes on. And like you said, it looks like we're getting that. So what we would talk about, that's actually our review of Sengoku Lord. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show and our review. So if this is your first time checking us out, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. All of that great stuff. We appreciate it most definitely. And like I said, we would break down Summer Struggle card right now, but there's nothing to break down at all right now.
Whenever they post more things, we will absolutely be back to preview, review, breakdown, and discuss. But for the moment, we're on kind of a timeout with New Japan because that's all we've got to work with.
Exactly. So get ready to watch all that stuff when y'all can, like we will. So like I said, SOS Wrestling Network, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And Naito seems to be no tranquilo right now. So, and New Japan ain't either, because there's a show in the morning and there's a show Monday. So we'll probably, do you want to probably combine those, or should we do those? Let's just probably combine. Let's play it by ear. If we feel like we can do them separate, we can. If we feel like we can combine them, we combine them.
Yeah, that works. I mean, I say on paper, even though we don't have a whole lot, it looks like we could combine them into one thing. But if it ends up being a whole lot of stuff or some big stuff on one of them, we'll figure it out.
Hell yeah, absolutely, y'all. So y'all know what I got to do. I got to get ready, get on my DraftKings and my FanDuel before this UFC card starts, because I'm going to play some bets and hopefully going to win some money. So fingers crossed on that. But yeah, we'll holler at y'all later, and y'all take it easy.